Mr. Joe, you're muted.
That's perfect. What a way to start. That wraps up pretty much everything that's been going on. All right, we'll try again. Take two. The reason that we're here is to celebrate the peer counselors. I started at Walnut High School coaching sports before I did peer counseling. I did 13 years of coaching, which is pretty much 2 banquets a year. That's like 26 banquets. And after I quit coaching, Dr. Gunn, who was principal then, sort of pushed me into peer counseling with a very firm nudge. Hey, I think it worked. I think your mom got in. Finally, there you go. Success makes me happy. Anyway, so I did all that banquets for basketball and softball and baseball and stuff. And when I started doing peer counseling, I realized that these kids do super important work for the school, and they're helping people in really significant ways, but they were doing it all undercover. You know, there was no celebration of what they did. In fact, you know, because of confidentiality, it was kept very, very quiet. And so I wanted to do something to celebrate them in a way that, you know, what they're doing is far more important than putting a ball in the basket or hitting a home run. So we started doing these banquets 22 years ago, and this will be our 22nd one. And we just want to celebrate these very special kids and what they bring to the table, what they do for our campus. You know, this year was extraordinarily difficult because they were trying to contact kids online after kids really didn't want to be online anymore because they were online all day. And it made things just especially difficult, not only for our students, but for the peer counselors as well. So we really want to celebrate all their efforts and all their time this year. And we're going to start with that. So before we get too far into the banquet, we're going to have Dr. Main, our principal, give a few words of wisdom to our students, and I'll hand it over to him.
Thank you, Mr. Joe. Mr. Johansson asked if I can swing by, and I said, of course, because our peer counselors are literally the life of our school. So we just want to say thank you, everybody. Mr. Code and Mr. Joe and Tara, we always talk about how our peer counselors are the best of the best on our campus, and you truly are. Just all the things that you do besides peer counseling, you're involved in sports and clubs, and just your heart shines. And we just want to thank you all so much. This year has been one for the books. And your name, peer counselors, have come up every single week from our GLCs, from our teachers, from our students, from our Need Emotional Support button that we have on our website. So we just want to thank you all this year. I know it didn't go as expected, but just so much that you all have done. And to our seniors, thank you so much for everything. I remember coming on campus last year and just seeing all of you, and now hoping to see everybody at graduation and just enjoy it for one last time. And for the underclassmen, be ready to rock next year. We're going to need you more than ever with our kids coming back. So just be ready to go. Don't be afraid to reach out to the graduating seniors for advice, of course, because you all seniors have left an amazing mark here on campus, and we can't thank you enough. So thank you all. We appreciate you. Seriously, you're all the best. I wish we can be there in person right now celebrating with you, but we will on Thursday. So chairs are set up, ready to go. And I know Mr. Joe, Tara, and Mr. Code, Dr. Code are ready to celebrate with you all. So make sure you all say what's up to us. Come give us a fist bump or a side hug, and see if we can all take a picture together. So thank you and good luck today. And we'll be watching in the background. Appreciate you, peer counselors.
Thank you, Dr. May. And now a short message from Miss Liz.
Hello there. I'm Mrs. Lizarraga. Most of the students know me by Miss Liz. I'm one of our school psychologists. I've been at Walnut the past 9 years, and I'm a former Walnut High School alumni. And I was fortunate enough to be part of the peer counseling program back in 2003, 2004. So I wanted to this year has been, just like Mr. Johansson said, a year like no other. The things that these students had to endure, things that even as a 9-year school psychologist, figuring out how to reach kids, how to connect with kids, how to do this whole online Google Meet, Google, chats, we've asked these kids to do, and they have done I mean, just an amazing, outstanding job of really coming out of their comfort zone and doing things that have never been asked of peer counselors before. This class really stands out in my mind in my 9 years of working with peer counselors as one of the greatest. I feel so connected to all of you. Peer counseling, especially when I look back on all the years I worked with peer counselors, being in peer counselor, it's always been this just safe haven and this safe place. And a lot of peer counselors would agree with me that there's no other club, no other class, no other, anything on campus that is as close and connected and safe as peer counseling is. And I feel like this year, even more so, we've had to really adapt to a new safe place of being online on a computer screen. Things when we ask the students to share and be vulnerable and open their heart and really be honest and talk about things that they haven't talked about with a lot of other people, and to do it with the screen without having people in person to kind of validate your feelings and, just the things you feel when you are in person, but to do it online when everyone is muted. And, it's just this really, I feel very fortunate to be part of that this year. It was always especially in like the really scary times when things were just shutting down and quite literally the world was closing in, I could always count on peer counseling 3 times a week coming in. And it was just this, and it's all the students that really created it as this really safe haven of just seeing their faces, seeing their consistent backgrounds, seeing, and just knowing that they had to, in all other classes, they could be incognito and there's, mic off, camera off, and just kind of be hidden with the, the screen of black most of the students have. But in peer counseling, really asked them, we really didn't ask them, they just did it, to really be, video on, screen on, and be vulnerable and just be there. So I really commend them for that, because that was something really difficult for a lot of our students, but in peer counseling, it was this space of just safety. I'm going to miss you guys, especially the seniors, so much. And I really wish we could have been together more in person. But I feel like I really, in my own role as a school psychologist, a lot of times throughout the year and in person, find myself busy and hard to kind of get around to this, the class. And I feel like I really was able to stop what I was doing, take a moment and kind of log in, and it was easier. And I feel like I got to know you guys, even though virtually, but got to know you guys a lot more. So I feel really, really connected with so many and I'm especially the seniors. I'm going to miss you so much, and I'm going to miss Mr. Johansson's songs every time with Scotty and Javen and George. You guys were comedy every time in the beginning. I just will miss that. I'll miss Mr. Johansson's, Donna and Scotty and Aubrey with a B and Audrey with a D and all these cute little fun things that will never happen again, because I don't think we'll have a worldwide pandemic again. I hope, pray not. But so many memories are engraved in my mind because of the circumstances. But it is a class that will never be forgotten. And I hope you guys always look back on kind of peer counseling as a safe place. And you can always rely on Mr. Johansson, myself, Mr. Code, and Dr. Main. And we are always here for you guys, no matter what. And I'll miss you dearly. And I love you guys from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Miss Liz. And now what used to be Mr. Code, now Dr. Code, will address you for a moment.
I know. Okay, I'm still getting used to that whole thing. So, well, 2 things kind of came to mind. So when Mr. Joe says, hey, you're going to talk, first thing is like, no thanks. And then second thing is, all right, what am I going to say? But one of the things I notice is when Mrs. Liz tells you, like, she looks at the camera and she tells you she's going to miss you guys. I mean, doesn't that feel great? Did you guys kind of feel it? Right? So I have a little mentor, Dr. Nancy. She's this little, like, 5-foot-tall Japanese lady that gets in my space and makes me uncomfortable and threatens me. And one of the words she uses a lot is inspirational. And she says inspirational because she actually likes to say it. She says it's a fun word to say. She says it feels fun kind of coming out of her mouth. the way, you know, you have to articulate it. And, you know, I think when Mrs. Liz says those things, it's inspirational. And when you guys say things, it's inspirational. And it's something you've developed. You guys have all had the raw material. But in this class, you've developed that ability to really say and mean what you're thinking and feeling. And that's a really special trait. And no matter what went on this year, people are talking a lot about what you've lost or what we missed out on, or it's not fair, or all these things are going on that have taken away. But I would tell you guys to look at what you gained. And I actually think even through the cameras and through the computers, you've really gained the ability to listen and to kind of speak from your heart. And listening is interesting because as you really become an effective listener, listening becomes more about sight than it does about hearing. And when you guys listen, you see people. And that is something that can't be measured. So look at what you're taking away from this year. It was non-traditional, but you guys spent so much time looking at each other, looking at yourselves, listening, and listening to see so that you can grow and develop and support other people. And I know people that are 50 years old that haven't spent as much time as you have doing that. And so in my mind, you guys are ahead of the curve. And so I know a lot of you have already told this because I say it over and over and over. But if it comes to this point and I still have to tell you how I feel about you, I really haven't done my job. I always want to make sure that you guys never have to doubt that. No matter where you are, no matter what's going on around you, that you will never have to wonder, you know, how did Mr. Code feel? So maybe someday I'll get that doctor thing attached, but it's not quite there yet. But as you guys go forward, you know, we do care about you very much. You've done amazing things for the school. Some of you have literally saved lives. Some of you have literally saved graduation for kids. And some of you have literally changed the course of kind of life and the trajectory that some students are on now. They were going one direction that was not going to work. It was painful, it was hurtful, and you guys have literally caused that to pivot and alter the path of someone's life, and that can't be measured, and it's something that you also shouldn't let go by just casually. That's something significant, and I don't think everybody gets a chance to actually do that. It's kind of sacred ground when you get the chance to do that. And I watch you guys do it so many times. You make it look effortless and you make it look common. And it's extremely uncommon. So we love you guys very much. The seniors, you're killing us as you leave us. And the returners, we're looking forward to next year. So hopefully I don't have to ever tell you how I feel about you that you already know.
Thank you, Dr. Code.
Pitch back to you.
All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to say a little something about each peer counselor and kind of go through, you know, what makes each of them so special and unique. And we're going to start with Serena. There it goes. Whoop. Now it's just jumping away. There we go. So Serena is one of those students who, you know, most teenagers want to be the center of attention. You know, they're always looking for the limelight and stuff. And Serena really is very comfortable not being that. So she'll kind of take a back seat to other kids. She's very unassuming, but very welcoming and just a wonderful, kind aura about her when she's around you. But she never really looks to draw attention to herself. And so it took a little while, you know, especially with the online thing, for me to pick up on the fact that she has like a really quick wit. And she has a sort of a tight sense of humor, which I was really drawn to. You know, I love the fact that she can have fun and be one of those people that draws other people out and doesn't force herself on anyone else. And people like Serena often then don't get noticed. You know, we tend to focus on the kids that are, hey, over here kind of thing. But I think we're missing out on so much with someone like this, someone so special and empathetic and kind and generous, but never really draws any attention towards herself. And when I see Serena now, you know, I was struck. We had a second round of interviews, and the returners had to interview again. And when I was listening to her in her interview, I remembered all of the reasons I was so drawn to her the first time I interviewed her. Because when she's just one-on-one, her full personality blossoms out, and you get to see this really special young lady who has so much to offer. So what I'm super psyched about is, even though this year was such a challenge, next year we'll start out of the gate hopefully together and be able to grow and make that year very special. So I want to thank Serena for everything she did for us this year, and especially excited about next year. So thank you, Serena. The next person up, oh yeah, little hand clap there. Next person up is George. George is interesting because George tried out for peer counseling 2 years ago and made it, but because of his schedule, he couldn't fit it in, which immediately made him Mr. Code's enemy. Mr. Code didn't want anybody choosing band over peer counseling. My goodness, it's blasphemy. But George was very thoughtful and worked his way back into the class and won Dr. Code over eventually, because George is special. He's just one of those special people. He works incredibly hard. His level of responsibility is past most adults. He doesn't fear being responsible. He doesn't fear the hard work that's involved in doing all the things he does, you know, taking difficult classes, being a leader in the band program, being a leader in the peer counseling program. None of that, you know, pushes him off. In fact, he just pushes himself harder to strive to do more and be better. And that's one of the themes you're going to hear as we go through the kids in this group. And I think maybe as much as any group we've ever had, they really do have a push to grow as people. And George is a great example of that. He's always trying to improve himself and make himself better. But at the same time, he's fun. You know, you wouldn't know this, most people, but he and Scotty often got into our group ahead of everybody else. And I would often be preparing for class and doing last minute stuff and just have the sound on, and listening to those two guys made my day. Because they were very fun and energetic, and they brought that to the group and made it better. And so I'm super excited that George is coming back. He's going to want to be one of the big four next year, and I expect a great leadership job from him. But what he did this year was also incredibly awesome. So George, love you. Glad you're coming back, and thank you for everything you did. Now, Aubrey's next. Aubrey, I was thinking of this. She kind of reminds me of like a tree sort of in, you know, maybe March. When, you know, you go out and you look and you can admire the you know, thick base of the tree, the trunk. You can admire the branches, and it might have a lot of leaves on it. But what people often don't notice at that stage of the tree is all the little buds, right, that are going to blossom into flowers and make the tree really gorgeous in just a month. And I think with Aubrey, that's kind of what I see is, I know people admire her and look at her and think all these great things about her, but I see what's coming. I think with her, just like what I was talking about with George, her ability to want to grow and better herself, I've seen her really stretch herself this year and push herself. And we have a saying in peer counseling, it's not where you are that matters, but where you're headed. And I think Aubrey is a great example of that, because she is pushing herself in the right direction, you know, moving herself to become this amazing young woman. And people already see, you know, the quality person she is now. But I think because I've gotten to know her through her journaling and talking to her a few times privately, where she is now is really not that important. Where she's going, where I can see her heading and the person she's developing into, that's really spectacular. So what I'm excited about is I get to see that, because next year she's coming back again. She'll be one of the big four, one of the leaders of the group. And I think we'll start seeing a lot of those blossoms coming out, and people are going to be surprised at the growth and the development that she has. To take somebody that's already looked up to and admired by her peers, but then to have her grow and develop, you know, another level up is pretty special. So we're excited for that. Want to thank her for everything she did for us this year. her passion for the class and the group was really off the charts. And so thank you for everything, Aubrey, and looking forward to next year. All right, next up is Eliana. Eliana is again a little bit like I talked about with Aubrey, is got this sort of diamond in the rough quality where she has all these great qualities and sort of potential that she's moving towards, but I don't think what Miss Liz, Mr. Code, and I see is what she sees. Like, I don't know that she actually gets that that's coming and that that's in her future. That how she's going to grow and develop. She tends to sort of downplay herself. But I know that throughout the year, she's one of the few students who would stay after a lecture to ask specific questions, to see how she could apply what I was teaching, not only to help other people, but to help herself grow and develop and become a better person. And she really looks to make those growth changes in meaningful ways. She's not just looking to get attention or, to try to kiss up to the teacher or whatever, but she's really trying to apply lessons on empathy and learning and listening and all those qualities to her own life. How can I make myself a better person? How can I be a better friend, a better daughter, and all of those things? And that's just an amazing quality for somebody to have at this age. When you think about what most teenagers at this age are focused on, it's very much not what she's looking to do. And Eliana's faced major adversity. She's had some pretty big setbacks in her life, but it's always, for me, the heroes are the people who take those, absorb those setbacks, and instead of lashing out at the world and being bitter and selfish, and when you clearly could see a reason for them to do that, Ellie has chosen to use her life to make other people's lives better and to care for people. And so you really couldn't ask for a more wonderful attitude forward dealing with all she dealt with. So we want to thank Eliana. Super excited that she'll be back next year. And thanks for everything this year. Whoop, gosh, I keep doing that. All right, next up is Sarah. This is now we're entering into first year people that are seniors. So these people only were this 1 year. And I want to say before I get into Sarah's, how awful this was for me that the only year they got with us was this online thing. I really, really hate that is their experience. And I wish that we could, fail them all so they had to come back next year and we could rerun it again. Dr. Main's not going to let me do that. But that would actually be something I would like to do so they could know what it's like. And I think when you look at the COVID restrictions and all of the negative things that were in our way, Sarah was exactly what our class needed. She's very upbeat and optimistic and kind and generous. And every time she speaks, I feel like you're listening to an adult address you. She's very thoughtful. She chooses her words carefully. She's very analytical. When we went through interviews, when she would comment on people, it was one of my favorite people to listen to because she really was very thoughtful and processing not only what they were saying, but how they acted and how would they fit in the group afterwards. I think she was one of the most open-minded people to other people and understanding that people make mistakes and willing to accept them for who they are now. And I absolutely love her. I think, if she's your daughter or your friend or, someday your mom or your wife or whatever it is, you've lucked out, because she's one of those people that just makes the people around her better and makes their lives better. And so I couldn't be happier to have had her this year. I just wish, we would have more time together. But so thankful that she was with us in this difficult year. So thank you for all of that, Sarah, and everything else you did for us. All right, Scotty didn't send me any pictures really, so I had to throw this together. So I don't know if you know this, but Scotty's an Instagram legend. He breaks Instagram every time they post something about him there. And so he gets thousands of followers and stuff. He's just this huge Instagram influencer. But we were lucky. We got this amazing popular person to be in our group. And I know that Scotty was frustrated, that we were online and things just like the rest of us were, but you would never know it when he was in class. Like I said, he and George would get there early every day, like 5 minutes early, and their banter back and forth would make my day, and Mr. Code and Miss Liz, when they were able to get there early too. But then what they would do is be really inclusive as the other students started showing up. They would ask them about their day. They would welcome them to the group. And I don't know, you can't replace that kind of thing, that inclusiveness, that making people feel appreciated and welcome. And I think, Scotty his quality as a person is to be that way with absolutely everyone. And the saddest thing for me when it comes to Scotty is Scotty doesn't see it. Scotty doesn't see, how wonderful he is. And I've tried over the course of the year to get him there, and I think he's closer. But, this guy is, like I said about Sarah, I could say the same thing about other gender for Scotty. Scotty would be a great friend for your kids. He's a great friend for you. He's going to be a great parent. He's going to be a great husband because he cares about other people on a level that exceeds the average person. And he has a way of being optimistic and upbeat, but he also feels things incredibly deeply, right? So more than most people, his empathy is on a very high scale. And I know that can be a blessing and a curse, and sometimes that can drag him down and make him feel really low because he cares so much for other people when they're hurting. But much rather have that than the other way where they don't feel for you. And Scotty's ability to love and care for those in his life is really just commendable. So I love Scotty. I hope that he comes to see himself the way I see him. And I know that everyone in the class sees him that way, that we all just really admire and appreciate the man he is. So I want to thank you, Scotty, for everything. There she goes. This is, so Calixta is one of the people, I don't see Calixta. Is Calixta in here? Oh, so hopefully she'll get to watch it later. But Calixta is one of the people that I immediately knew when we interviewed her that she had to be in the class. And it could say, if you wanted to put a pinpoint on it, what is the thing that drew me so much to her? It's part of it is her kind voice. It's her demeanor. There's something about, there are just some people that when you talk to them, you feel they see you, right? And you feel they accept you for who you are. And Calixta is one of those people. She just has the ability to bring you into the world she's in and make you feel safe and understood and cared about. And she's just an amazing young woman. When I was able to talk about her in class the other day, and again, it's a disease that most of these kids, or really all of them have, is that they don't see how special they are. I've been watching teenagers for a very long time, and I can tell you they are very, very special, and Calixta is one of those people. Her kindness, her generosity, her listening skills, and she's a hard worker. She's faced adversity in her life, and she pushes that to the side. Again, she clearly had things happen in her life that would drive people to be bitter and make poor choices, but Calixta is the hero type where she chose to push that out of the way and push her life in a positive, generous direction. And she is nothing but sort of just like a bundle of love and kindness. So we're going to miss Calixta, really love her, and thank her for everything she did for us this year. With Javen, again, he didn't send me pictures, so I just kind of had to throw it together. With Javen, I think the thing I would focus on is there was a student that we had a bunch of adults on campus try to help this student. They were struggling, didn't look like they were going to pass their class, and difficulty, even going to school and doing their work. And Dr. Code asked Javen to help this kid out. And after a series of adults, many adults who do this for a living, have degrees, we're trying to help this student, Javen sat down with them and literally in one day had moved them further along than all of these adults had done over months, and then continued to help this student and move them forward. And he's a mover shaker guy. He's a built-in leader. He's very compassionate, but also very motivated to help people. I know that he cares deeply for the people in his life, and he does whatever he can to assist them and move them forward and guide them in the right directions. And he does the same for himself while he's doing it. And so, he's a quality young man that he can have a goofy side and be silly, joke around with everybody, and kind of is sort of the class clown for our class. But when the moment calls for it, he can be serious and forthright. So when we did a lecture, Javen was right in on the lectures, and then when there was free time, he'd be goofing around and having fun with everybody and lightening the mood. And so he's just one of those people that can sort of swing back and forth, and that really is a sign of a leader that can have fun with the people that they're guiding, but at the same time inspire them by taking things seriously when you need to and driving the group forward. Our class really needed that in a year where people are sad. We just the peer counselors are not immune to that sadness, and so they had days where they didn't feel good. And I think the three guys in our class, and Javen was a big part of this, helped lighten that load, and made things fun for us sometimes. And I think that was really important for our group, and I know it was really important for me to have that in the class. So I want to thank Javen for that and all the other things that he did for us. Thank you, Javen. Great. All right, Lauren, I did stock you for one of your pictures because I felt like you didn't have enough. So there, if you're there. We have a room on the campus called the Stable, and it's where we send the peer counselors when we're on campus to counsel students, and where students can go to kind of relax and decompress. And we have, when it's up and operational, there's like soft music playing. There's usually a video of a stream going over rocks or a waterfall, nice soothing sounds. And then there's fountains in there with gurgling water and a white noise machine. It's all designed to make people feel really relaxed and cared for. And Lauren is a stable in human form. So she has, if you ever hear Lauren talk, her voice is this incredibly soothing, calming voice. I would liken it to Miss Liz. Miss Liz and Lauren have that really calming, soothing voice. And Lauren's demeanor is the same way. You never feel put upon by Lauren. She always is very welcoming and considerate and kind. And she's I think one of the people that if I had to talk to somebody when I was in a counseling situation, she'd be one of the first people I'd pick, just because of that way she can lower anxiety and expectations. Just very soothing and kind and considerate. And she's a very bright kid, worked very hard. She can be really fun too. And she was a big part of what we did this year. But again, it was just brutal that she wasn't able to be with us more, this difficult thing where we're separated. But still, if you're picking all-star type people, their personalities that fit what we do and how we care for people, Lauren's a great example of what peer counseling is. And so she's going to be a big loss next year. I'm really sorry that we're going to lose her, but I'm super thankful that we had her this year, and I really love her very much. So thank you very much, Lauren. All right, now the next group of students were all students who came back. So this is their second year in peer counseling. And Annalie is the first of those. And it's difficult to say, summarize Annalie because she's pretty much everything. She's a valedictorian, she's a jock, she's a soccer player. You can see she dresses up to be like pretty girl. She does the joke around thing. She has this evil face she does for me that freaks me out. So she's a TikTok dancer with Belle. They're always doing some kind of weird TikTok dancing thing where I have to photobomb them so that it ruins it. But she is really a little bit of everything. And I think the weird thing is she kind of flies under the radar because of it. You know, she doesn't really grab the headlines, even though most kids that would do all the things she does would. Annalie doesn't do that. She's pretty happy to be sort of just around everybody and helping others. But she's a star. You know, she really is one of those people that stands out, absolutely amazing. She's one of the people, I'll talk about another one in a little bit, who checks on me to make sure I'm okay, and, you know, sends me words of encouragement when I have a bad day, which she seems to be able to pick up on. There are just some people who are born to be special, and I think Annalie is one of those people. And I don't know that Annalie sees that. It would be my greatest pleasure if she would just accept that she's really spectacular and that she stands out and is special, even if she doesn't draw that attention to herself. Because, you know, again, just like I said about these other kids, if this is your daughter or your sister or your friend or your girlfriend or whatever it is, you've done, you know, hit the lottery and done very well for yourself. And I can't imagine a better person really to represent our group. And, you know, I'll talk more about her later, but she is just one of those truly special people that has a special place in my heart for sure. And we want to thank her for the 2 wonderful years that she gave us in peer counseling. And I'm going to miss her terribly. So I love you. Thank you, Annalie. One second. So with Belle, I think what I would most want to talk about is the changes I've seen in Belle over 2 years. And when we first got Belle, I think she was really unsure in the class. And I would say hesitant to join in all the time, kind of cautious about what she shared. And I think over the last year, which hit Belle really hard, because Belle is a person who feeds off of other people. And then you take somebody like that and you lock them away, and she can't do TikTok videos with Annalie. She doesn't get to be around the group in the class. She's, you know, you isolate somebody who feeds off of the energy of others. And I know some of you as adults, you know what this is like. When you do that, it's draining, you know, it's exhausting. And what I was so proud of Belle, though, is that she addressed those things. You know, whether it was her journals or talking to Dr. Code or whatever it was, Belle didn't let that, you know, eat her up and take her completely out of the game. And so she still was always willing to help other people. She was always looking to grow and find ways around this for herself. She's just, she's really spectacular in that way, in that she's willing to grow and push herself and be the kind of person that that is an example to others of how to take on adversity, right? She doesn't cave to it. She doesn't give in to it. She pushes past it. And along the way, other people see that. And she's an example when things do seem dark and dire, that you can just push through and make it. And I know there were probably times when she didn't know how things were going to turn out. But I was very confident, knowing the quality of her character, that she would get across this and do just fine, because she's a really special person. Besides that, she's one of the people that just makes me laugh. She just has a way of, the little silly things that she does are always funny. And if we ever get a chance, we should have everybody watch one of their TikToks, because it's very fun. But I want to thank Belle for everything she did for us for the 2 years, for just being a really special person and always so kind to me. Thank you very much, Belle, and I love you very much. There it goes. I feel bad because I'm going to say something very similar to what I said about Donna last year. And so I apologize, Donna, for that, but it just still rings so true to me. When everybody says goodbye to Donna, the word you will hear the most is chill. They will constantly say, oh, Donna's so chill. And, you know, I love Donna. Donna's so chill. It's like a constant refrain of chill. And I'm not 100% on what that means, because I'm old and they're young, but I'm guessing what it means is they think she's relaxed and accepting, right? That she's relaxed and she's accepting of everybody else. And that may be true, and she doesn't, you know, but in chill, I also get that they mean she's, you know, not feel, you know, overwhelmed or stressed or whatever it is. But Donna to me is a volcano. She is not chill. Chill is like a polar thingy. That's not Donna. Donna is a volcano. Outside, Donna seems strong and sturdy, but inside there is churning volcanic lava stuff going on there. I'm not a whatever geologist, but I know that there's all kinds of power underneath there and lots of strong, deep feelings. Donna feels things at like a 12. So there was a movie where they talked about a amplifier that would go to an 11, and that's the loudest amplifier. Well, when you talk about feeling, Donna's feelings go up to a 12. She feels things at a level that most people don't, right? And that's a hard thing. You know, we talked about that before a little bit with empathy. With Donna, that's a tough thing to carry all that feeling inside. And honestly, Donna has worked really hard at sharing those feelings more now as she's gone through peer counseling for a couple of years. In the beginning, I think she kept most of that inside. And then over the last year and a half, I've noticed that she's been better at sharing those things. But she is just a powerhouse inside of feeling and emotion and caring for people and caring for the things in her life on such an incredibly deep and amazing level that's a burden for her to carry. You know, when you feel things that much, especially, you know, she's counseling other students. I know she takes all that in and feels it deeply. The people in peer counseling, when she hears their sad stories and knows what they're going through, she feels that deeply. When things don't go right, she feels that deeply. She just got this incredible weight that she carries around with her because she cares so much, right? And that's such a good quality, but also such a difficult thing to live with and learn to deal with. But I know that she's getting better at it. I have no doubts that she'll improve. When I first saw Donna, she was in my World History Honors class, and I sort of picked her out. I kind of saw her as somebody that would be good for peer counseling, and I don't think I had any idea how good she was going to be. You know, that was just the beginning of something really special. And so I love her too much to even talk about, and I'm going to miss her incredibly and all that she did for our program. So thank you, Donna, for everything. That was slow. Amanda is, it's difficult to put it into words because she can be super strong. And I think students sort of pick up on this. They'll say things like, when I first met Donna, I was afraid of her, right? And I know when I first met Donna, I would always see her surrounded by like a circle of boys. You know, she'd be on campus and there'd be all these boys. And she looks like one of the mean girls from, if you've ever seen that movie, one of the mean girls, because she's this girl surrounded by boys and, you know, flipping her hair and talking, and they're all just staring at her longingly. And so you get the idea that, you know, she's like a plastic, one of these people that, you know, bullies other kids and doesn't get along with them and is always pushing people. Oh, did I say Donna? I'm sorry. I'm thinking of you, Amanda, clearly. But I made a mistake. So Amanda has this sort of persona on the outside that she's like a plastic and sort of a bully girl and stuff, but she's so not that person. When you see her in peer counseling, and I think all the peer counselors were shocked too when they came into class and they found out how kind and sensitive and funny. She has a great sense of humor. She likes to use it to make fun of me as often as she can. But she's one of those people that makes other people feel welcome. She's really good at peer counseling because of that. I think when you see someone as strong as she appears to be on the outside, you just automatically assume that life is easy for them. But getting to know Amanda over the last year and a half, Amanda's life is not easy. She deals with tons of stuff. And she does it in a way that she doesn't let it infect other people. And that's not always a good thing. because she'll take things on herself that she really would share, benefit from sharing with someone else. But she tries to power through it. She's one of those people who believes that, that her problems would be a burden to others when she's willing to take on the burdens of everybody else. And that's not healthy. So I've worked with Amanda on that, and I think she's getting better at it, but still has a little ways to go on that. So hopefully she'll continue to grow in that area. But if you're just looking for somebody with a kind heart who would be, have your back in any situation and be the kind of person that can be strong for everybody else, that's Amanda. She's just that kind of person. My favorite parts of her, though, are the soft, vulnerable parts that she doesn't show to other people, that she kind of keeps sort of hidden from a lot of people and only shows to the closest to her. But I was fortunate to be one of those people where she showed me some of the things that she was struggling with, and couldn't have handled it any better. She's just a beautiful, beautiful person. So Amanda, I love you very much. I'm going to miss you a ton, and thank you for everything. Okay, with Chelsea, I think when I think of Chelsea, and I think this picture actually makes me think it even more now that I'm looking at it. I really didn't look at the picture very much, but I think of Chelsea, I think of Mary Poppins. Because in Mary Poppins, how they say she's practically perfect in every way, I think that's what we would say about Chelsea. Chelsea's practically perfect in every way. She's kind, she's beautiful, she's funny, she's fun, she's sensitive, she's works hard, she's responsible, and all the things. And you can't really come up with a quality that she doesn't possess, and in a really high level. And I know that. I don't think I could say anything better about Chelsea than every person in the class really loves and respects her, right? When they talk about her, when they said goodbye to her, I think some of the nicest things said about anybody were said to Chelsea, and they were said by so many different people. Like, she's one of those people that bridges every clique, every group. She's just a kind-hearted, wonderful person. And I think, what else could you say about somebody that's any better than that? I know that I've grown to love her very deeply. And just like Mary Poppins, she can sing too. So that's another quality that's good. I haven't seen her fly with an umbrella yet, but I wouldn't be shocked if I saw it happen. But other than that, she's really practically perfect in every way, and sweet as possibly could be. And I know that it's going to be a huge loss for us when she goes, because she kind of was the kindness of our group. I felt like when she was in the room or on the video thing, she was always bringing kindness to us and making it possible for everyone to feel that, even when things were so isolating. So we want to thank Chelsea for that, and for really everything else. Just wonderful person, and just did such a great job for our program. Thank you, Chelsea. Really love you, and I'm going to miss you. All right, this is our last individual person, and I can't even remember now, but I'm pretty sure Audrey TA'd for me, but that seemed like a million years ago. But she was also in World History Honors. She was in peer counseling for 3 years, which means not only have we spent a bazillion minutes together, I can't even figure out that anymore, I'm so bad at math, but it's a lot. We've spent a ton of time together. But Audrey and I think, in all of that time, we've really grown very, very close. When I talked about Annalie checking on me, the only person who checks on me more than Annalie is Audrey. Audrey is constantly checking on me to make sure that I'm okay. When things go bad, when there's a bad day in class, she's always looking out for me and making sure that I'm not going to quit or something. And she just brings joy to my heart. I've never seen the kid sleep harder. If you've ever seen this kid sleep, you can't wake her up. She is an incredibly deep sleeper. It's like you think she's gone into a coma or something. It's amazing. She scared the bejeebus out of Dr. Code. We came back from Disneyland one year. She was on the bus, and we couldn't wake her up, and he thought she was dead. So we had to convince him first she wasn't dead, and then get her off the bus. She's absolutely hilarious in that she's so innocent. There are often words and things that people will say that she doesn't get, and Audalie will explain it to her. And then when she does, you see her shaking her head no. That's what she does. She gets a disgusted no going, and Audalie just cracks up and laughs hysterically for the next 20 minutes. Audrey was in my world history honors class, like Donna, and she's another one that when I saw her, I knew she was special. You know, some people just stand out as special, and she's just one of those people. Mr. Code used to tease her about her sister being our favorite day, and that's totally untrue. I can't imagine liking anyone, let alone her sister, more than Audrey. Audrey is just one of those people that has a special place in my heart. She has a special place in our program. She was a great leader under the worst possible conditions. You know, I know that people were frustrated, like, oh, we're not getting as close as other classes and stuff. Well, no kidding. There's no way to do that under the circumstances we were in. But what she did is push through and at least made this year special. You know, this year was special because Audrey was determined to make it that way. And I leaned on her heavily. I was constantly asking her for favors, and she never once didn't come through. She always did whatever I asked of her. She is more responsible than she should be at her age. She's more kind than you would ever expect of anybody. And she's just an amazing person. And I love her immensely. I'm going to miss her terribly. I feel like she's a part of me now after all these years that we've spent together. And it's going to be very hard to say goodbye. So I love you, Audrey, and thanks for everything.
Mr. Joe?
Yes.
Sorry, we have preferential treatment. Audrey Day is going to University of San Diego, where my wife and I went. Go Toreros.
Look at you, Audrey, making friends. He should be able to get you something, because I'm assuming he's an important alumnus. So ask him, you know, to get you some kind of cool thing, like a great dorm room with like 6 bathrooms or something. Should be able to make that happen. All right, so we finished going through each student. Now we're just going to quickly go through the awards. Dr. Main's got some really cool stuff happening in his house. All right. So the first award is the TLC award, and this is the one that the peer counselors give to the person they feel like this is the peer counselor when I'm having trouble as a peer counselor I would want to go talk to. So this is the one that everyone respects in the sense that they think this would be the person that would listen the best for me, that would give me the best help in sorting out what I want to do, and just be all around, you know, empathetic and kind. And so the winner of this award this year is Chelsea. So congratulations, Chelsea. Yes, while you were drinking, you won an award. Good job. Chelsea will be getting her award. We're going to have a get-together on Memorial Day. And so Chelsea will be getting her award on that day, as will all the students have. We have awards for all of the students. They'll be getting those on Memorial Day. Congratulations, Chelsea. Our next award is the Personal Growth Award. And this goes to the person or the people that the students, and by the way, these all are voted on by the students. So I forgot to mention that. But this one, they voted on the students they felt had developed or grown over the course of the year the most. And that's a really big theme in peer counseling. We really don't want people who are satisfied with being who they are. You know, a big part of our program is really pushing yourself to grow and become a better person. And everybody was great at that this year. But the two that the class felt were the best examples of that for our group that tied were Serena and Scotty. So Serena and Scotty, congratulations. You will be receiving your awards on Memorial Day. Great job. Now the next one is the only one that's not voted on. This one I get to pick. And since we were not in person, I picked exactly what I wanted to pick. So if you've seen The Wizard of Oz, you know that there's you know, the cowardly lion who has courage, the Tin Man who has a heart, and the Scarecrow who has the brains. So what I did for peer counseling is I picked the 3 people I thought had empathy, kindness, and leadership potential in our class. And so instead of the heart, brain, and courage thing, that we're going to go with empathy, kindness. But see, the problem is all three of these people have all three of these things. But that I don't care. I picked them anyway. This is the group that I selected for the Advisors Award. Annalie, Amanda, and Calixta, I think really just an excellent job. So wonderful, kind, empathetic, and great leaders too. So I want to thank them for everything, and they'll be getting their award on Memorial Day as well. Now we're back to awards that are voted on. So these are voted on by the students, and they're picking Peer Counselor of the Year as the person or people they feel that really, gave a lot to our program over the course of the year. The ones who worked the hardest for peer counseling. And we ended up with a tie on this one, and it wasn't much of a surprise to me. I think it was an excellent choice. So the two that tied for Peer Counselor of the Year this year are Donna and George. So congratulations to both Donna and George. Excellent job. Great choice, class. And they'll be getting their award on Memorial Day as well. And then the last award is the Hall of Fame Award. And the class votes on the person that they think represents our program really to the whole school, the person that all future peer counselors should be chosen to be like. And I think this one was almost unanimous. I think only person who didn't vote for this person was this person. So otherwise it would have been a unanimous vote, and the winner should not be a surprise to anybody. It's Audrey Day. So congratulations, Audrey. You will get your award, and you can take it to San Diego and show it off to all Dr. Main's old friends. Okay. Great job, everybody. Just quickly, I want to do a few thank yous. I would like to thank Dr. Main and our admin team. What we do would not be possible without support, and we have amazing support from our office staff, all the way down to the attendance ladies who call students out when we're in person. It's just everybody up there has always been so kind and helpful. I want to thank D2L for donating money to our program and helping us stay afloat, because one thing Dr. Code and I are terrible at is fundraising. But it seems like other people seem to take care of us there, so we make it. We'd like to thank Mr. Schultz and ASB, because they're always there to lend a hand and help us out. And then, of course, Dr. Code and Miss Liz. Having Dr. Code around has been just a gift for me all these years. We've been together these 22 years, and he's a friend, he's a mentor, he's a lot of things. Even though I'm older, he's really kind of the leader of this craziness, and just couldn't do it without him. And then Miss Liz brings just a level of kindness to our group. I think Dr. Code and I are kind of salty, and Miss Liz brings kindness to our group and makes us a trio that works, right? So now I think we were incomplete before she got here, and her having been a peer counselor and the kindness she brings to us, it just makes everything work. And so I want to thank both of them for everything. And then my wife, Mrs. Joe, there are a lot of days I come home, kids, and I throw my stuff down, and then I say, that's it, I'm done. I'm not going back. I don't want to do this anymore. And my wife talks me down and helps me get through it. And she's just always been there for me through all these years and all the craziness. So I want to thank her so much. I love her for everything she's done for me. And okay, so I just want to say a couple final words, and then I'll shut up. I know I've been talking a long time. I've been coaching or teaching high school people since 1983. So that's 38 years. So I've been working with teenagers for 38 years. And then if you count the 4 years I was a teenager, or 4 or 5 years, that gets you up to around 43 years of being around teenagers. So I think just in time alone, I qualify as an expert on teenagers. And I can tell you that you may think that your child who's here now is not perfect. You may think, oh, they'd be better if they only did this, or they'd be better if they were more like so-and-so. But I'm going to tell you now, and you need to listen to me because this is absolutely coming from an expert, you can't do better than this. You've hit the lottery, you've hit the jackpot, this is as good as it gets. The kids you have here, you should thank. I don't know if you're religious, thank God. If you're not, thank your lucky stars. But whatever you thank something that you were lucky enough to get these kids. These kids are extraordinarily special. I deal with kids all day long, and I've done it for years, and they stand out above all of those other people. So don't think that you got cheated in any way. Just feel blessed, because you are absolutely blessed to have these kids. I know I feel completely blessed. Dr. Ko does, Miss Liz does, that we have these kids in our life for the small time that we did, those that are leaving. And we're super excited to just keep the ones we get to keep for a little while. So I hope you feel that way too. And please tell them over and over again how lucky you are to have them in your lives, because this is just as good as it gets. And that's the last thing I will say. I know that Audrey would like to say something, and then I'm done.
Okay, Annalie and I wanted to start off by showing our appreciation for Mr. Joe. So, Mr. Joe, peer counseling truly wouldn't be what it was or what it is if it weren't for you. These past years, we have learned so much from you, whether it be life lessons or just how to be there for other people. And those are things that are so valuable that I know that the whole class will carry on with them into the rest of their lives. I know we are speaking for the rest of the class when we say that you're more than just a teacher. You are someone who is always there for us and willing to help us through our problems. Through all of your words and actions throughout the year, it is evident that you care about us so much, and we wanted to let you know that we care just as deeply about you. You have made a lasting impact on all of our lives and made us realize that peer counseling is more than just a class, it's a family.
We will never forget all the memories we made, like the time when the class forced you onto Guardians of the Galaxy, or the time when we were on the Cars ride and you thought you were sitting behind Melanie Marin, but you ended up touching the back of a random girl's head. Not only will we never forget how embarrassed we were for you in the moment, but I know that poor woman will never forget the time she went to Disneyland and experienced some random man stroking her hair on the Cars ride. But all jokes aside, we will never forget our time in peer counseling with you, and we definitely plan on keeping in touch with you throughout the years. Thank you so much again for making peer counseling an unforgettable experience, and we love you so much, Mr. Joe.
Okay, and then me and Amanda have something for Dr. Code. Thank you for being an amazing role model, teacher, mentor, and friend to us these past 2 years. We are so grateful to have gotten to meet someone as special and life-changing as you. We will cherish all of the memories we've created with you, and they'll definitely live on with us way beyond high school. We hope that someday we can return the favor and make you proud in our futures by taking and applying all of the advice we've been so blessed to receive from you, taking risks and being confident and true to ourselves. Thank you for being by our side through it all, especially all of the boy drama we would bother you with.
We appreciate all the support and love you've surrounded us with each year. Even through a screen, you still manage to make an impactful connection with all of us in the class, and always make sure to check in on us and make sure we're doing okay. Not only have you taught us to care for others the right way, but you also taught us how to care for ourselves. Thank you for always guiding us down the right path and telling us what we need to hear, even if it may not be what we always want to hear.
Thank you for all of the amazing memories we have been so lucky to have shared with you in peer counseling. I'll never forget our California adventure trip last year and standing in line with you and Amanda as you told us that you listened to Trippie Redd and Travis Scott. I'll never forget how iconic you are for that and your immaculate music taste.
My favorite memory of you will always be when we went on our California adventure last year, and you didn't know we were in the swinging carts, so me and Annalie tortured you with our singing to try and make you feel better, but you pulled out your AirPods so you didn't have to hear us anymore. I also can't thank you enough for pushing me to try out for this class sophomore year, because it has been the best experience of my high school life. We love you, and thank you for being someone we'll never forget. And don't miss us too much, because we will definitely keep in touch.
Okay, Dawn and I have something to say for Miss Liz.
Miss Liz, oh my God, how do I even start? You're someone that is so inspirational, not to just me, but to every single person you come across. There is something about you that makes you so different, as you are so loving and so caring to literally everyone, whether that is a student like me or even someone you may not even know. Not to mention, you even have this fun, silly side to you that is honestly so incredible. I remember clearly when we were at Disneyland last year, and you were pregnant with one of your kids, and you didn't go on a lot of rides with us, but you did wait in line. So we were going on Indiana Jones, and we were in line, and it was like we were walking through the tunnels, and of course, I decided to try and scare one of the peer counselors. So I hid behind the wall, and when I heard footsteps, I yelled, "Boo!" But to my surprise, it was you and not another peer counselor. So I felt so bad to have scared you, but it made me feel a lot better that we were all laughing about it. But the story doesn't end there, because after we got off the ride, you decided to get me back, and all of a sudden you jumped out at me and scared me. And it was just, I don't know, it was so funny. So if this just does not prove how fun you are, then I don't know what does. But yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for everything you have done for our class. I think I can speak for everyone when I say that PC would not have been the same without you. So I'll pass it on to Donna.
Chelsea has said pretty much exactly what I was thinking, Miss Liz, but you're such an approachable and such a kind, supportive mentor. You're warm and kind to the point where everyone in PC is just like automatically comfortable with you, and it's something that's noticed by everyone that meets you. Like Chelsea said, you're so loving and caring, and thank you for everything that you have done for this class and the kindness and empathy you've displayed for all of us. We love you so much, Miss Liz. Thank you.
Okay, well, that does it. I do have a little surprise for those of you who don't know how Mr. Code became Dr. Code. There'll be a little thing at the end that Miss Liz put me up to. But otherwise, that's everything. I love you guys. I will post this on YouTube at some point. So if you missed this or one of your family members missed any part of this, you can play it for them and make sure that they get to see it. Really is important that everybody you know, your family and stuff, know how important what you do is and how helpful you are to everybody. Thank you, kids, again for this year. I know it was difficult for you. It was difficult for me, but you made it special, and I want to thank you for that. I really love all you guys. I'm going to miss you, those of you who are leaving, but at least I'll get to see you on Memorial Day, so that'll be good. Take care of yourselves. Love you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Peer Counseling with Mr. Joe.
Sir, El Doctor. Hello.
Is anyone here a doctor?
Doctor, my eyes.
You said I don't look like a what? Like a real doctor? A real doctor wouldn't dress like me, wouldn't act like me, wouldn't look like me? Hell nah.
Lab coat, Dolce. Clipboard, Prada. Vera Wang, short shorts. Name tag, doctor.
My doctor, he don't help either. He told me to run 5 miles a day for 2 weeks. I called him up. I said, Doc, I'm 70 miles from my house.
Doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case loving you.
Now, Mr. Evil. Dr. Evil. I didn't spend 6 years in evil medical school to be called Mr. Thank you very much.
Doctor, Sideshow Bob.
Real doctor or PhD?
PhD.
What's up, Doc? What's up, Doc? What's up, Doc?
Call me
What's up, Doc? What's up, Doc?
The doctor will see you.
Call me doctor.
What's up, Doc? What's up, Doc? What's up, Doc?
Call me doctor.
Okay. That was just, Miss Liz made me do that. I didn't want to do that.
DJ
last
Johansson.
year, what's that?
I said, good job, DJ Johansson.
All right. So last year, the kids had me leave the room open. Do you guys want me to leave the room open so you guys can talk, or you going to bed? Nobody's responding.
It's okay, Mr. Joe. Like, we'll just see each other at the celebration.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. Love you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.